everybody. We're on the Tradewater River today in a canoe for two reasons. Me and my buddy Joel bought this canoe yesterday, and I couldn't wait to get it in the water. He can't be here with me, so me and him's got a trip planned 3 or 4 weeks from now. Second reason is it's youth gun season here in the county I live in, and so I didn't want to be hiking up through the woods and get shot or mess up somebody's hunt. But here's my captain, Captain Pearl, and that's my first mate, Tucker. Tucker! He's acting a little restless, irritable, and discontent today for some reason. He's wound up. All right, y'all get down. But anyways, it's about 60 degrees. It's supposed to get down to 37 tonight. So I wanted to see how my hammock was going to hold up in the cool weather like that. But this little canoe is pretty awesome. We got her loaded down for sure. And it's got a little trolling motor on it, and I really like that. Some people might think that's cheating, but hey, whatever floats your boat, right? But I thought today I'd talk about early sobriety and, day one, the first 30 days, first 6 months, and kind of some things that I did to help me get through, and some of the mistakes I made when I failed. But I'm going to kick it down here and get our camp set up, because it's getting a little cool, and I'm about ready to get a fire started. And somebody asked me what I eat out here. And of course, when you're in a canoe, you can bring a lot of food. I've got a cooler on here. But so I thought I might show y'all what we're going to eat for supper tonight. It ain't much, but I think it's going to be good, though. All right, so I'll show you what this little trolling motor will do. It'll boogie. Yeah, that sounds right. Joel, we're going to have a lot of fun with this little boat. Here's the Ohio River. There's where we just come out of. Alright. I'm gonna get this boat up there on that bank. See if we can do it without spilling everything. got the canoe pulled up here on the bank, and the dogs are scavenging the beach. And I'll take you up here and show you our campsite. Got a good view. If you follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen this spot a few times. We like to come here quite often, and really nobody else ever comes here, I don't think. Maybe every now and again. But I want to get a fire going and go ahead and get my hammock hung, get these guys' tent put up, and we'll have a sunset here pretty soon. All right. Alright, we're all settled in. Got the hammock hung, got the fire going. I've got my GoPro set up over here behind us, taking a time lapse of the sunset. First time I've ever tried it. We'll see how that turns out. But we're going to talk about early sobriety. So I thought what I'd share with y'all is kind of some things I learned in 2013. And I'll say it again, I did relapse after this, but I learned a lot, and it stuck with me. And there's some things that happened in that time period, some change that I went through that I look back on now, and it means more. And it, some things that my sponsor said at that time, they didn't mean that much to me then. But something may come up, and I'll think, Kevin said that. And it hits me, and it just hits me different, 9 years later. But Kevin was the first sponsor I had that carried me through the steps. And I had a few before him, but I didn't stay sober long enough to give him anything to work with. But I was going to talk about some things he taught me, and besides the steps. Him carrying through the steps was a great experience, and I'm going to talk about the steps, here and there at some point. But just some things, if you're not working a program, a 12-step program or something like that, some other things that I learned to do. But when Kevin. When he agreed to sponsor me, it was at a meeting one night, and he said, "Go home and call me." And I'm like, oh man, getting on the phone's easy when I'm drinking, but it was, I'll never forget it. I sat down at the kitchen table, and me and my wife was split up at the time. I had the whole house, I was living at the house by myself, but I had my big book out on the table, and I had my cigarettes, and I had my Bible and a notebook and a pen. And I sat there just really, really nervous. And I dialed his number. So he answered, and we talked for a little bit, and he said, call me tomorrow at this time. And that's how it was from then on out. I called him every night at a certain time, and we talked for as long as we needed to. That's what he said. He said, we'll talk for a few minutes. If everything's good, we'll hang up. But he said, and it was what fit my schedule and his. And but he said, call me at this time, and we did. And later on, I had some sobriety time. We kind of backed off that a little bit, but then it got to, I drank, and so we had to get back to it, and went right back to that. Call me every night. So that was really important, and it made me get out of myself, my comfort zone. And but I learned that about this. So important to have somebody to talk to like that. Somebody who understands, somebody who's not going to judge you, somebody that you can trust to tell all them little deep, dark secrets about yourself. I told, over the years, me and Kevin, still today we talk, and he gets it, man. He understands how screwed up my thinking is sometimes. And I understand his, because we're both alcoholics, and he's got, a whole lot of sobriety, 14 years, I think now, but he never judges me, and I've told him things that nobody on this entire planet knows about me besides him. But I've got two other guys in my life like that. Another one has been my sponsor at one time, and another one's, he's not working a program or anything. He's not one of us. But I can tell them three guys anything, and they understand me, and they can tell me anything. And I'm not gonna tell anybody, and I'll do anything I can to help them with what they got going on. But that and the schedule, with my step work, Kevin, we started working the steps. And when I got to my fourth step, he said, tell me what time you want to do your step work. I'm like, I don't know, after work, whenever I get to it. He's like, no, you give me, he said, all I want is 15 minutes a day. And tell me where you're going to do that 15 minutes every day at the same time. So I told him I think mine was 5:15 to 5:30. And I didn't have to call him or anything. He trusted that I worked on it. And, somebody who worked the steps, they know if you're doing the work. He knew the right questions to ask. So, he knew whether I was lying to him or not. But, I didn't lie about it. I did that work 15 minutes a day, sometimes longer. That was the deal. If I wanted to do it longer, keep on rocking. And it took me a while to do my fourth step, but I learned just so much from it. But that's the two things he taught me. Have somebody. For some people, it may be your spouse. For me, early on, it wasn't my wife. There were things, I had to work out with myself before I could let her in and tell her all that stuff. And today, me and my wife, we can share anything about one another and help each other through it. But early on, it wasn't like that. But somebody to talk to, and a schedule, and kind of getting out of my comfort zone. And the third thing he taught me was, it was fun too. He one day he told me, he said, hey, Do something for somebody this week with nobody knowing that you done it. And don't tell nobody you done it. He said, don't even tell me. And so I had fun with it. I really did. I was going to an outpatient treatment at that time. And well, see, there I go. I'm fixing to tell you. I can't do that. But sometimes, see, I want to brag on myself. I can't do that. I really enjoyed it though, and I really did honestly keep it a secret. Every now and again, I had to get a third party involved to, pass on a book or, something simple. But just to see the reaction of the person that you've done something for. And not trying to claim no credit for it. I told that third person, do not tell them it's for me. Or, and see, I kind of gave away, one thing I did anyways. But so try something like that. It's fun. It's challenging. And had a lot of fun with that. But that's kind of three things that really stand out in my head that I did early on that helped me a lot. So I guess I'm gonna put these guys' tent up. I brought their own tent for them tonight, and because I don't want them sleeping in my hammock. I can handle one dog in my hammock, but not two. So I'm gonna put their tent up and maybe get some supper cooking. I might show y'all what we're gonna have for supper. Somebody asked me what I eat when I'm out camping and stuff, and I guess it kind of varies whether I'm backpacking or canoeing in, kayaking. But since we're coming in a canoe, I brought this grate. I got my cast iron skillet, and but we're frying up some Spam right now, and Spam isn't something I eat a lot of. Maybe 2 or 3 times a year, but I've been craving it, so I grabbed a couple cans. The dogs ate some, but we're gonna put this in this Velveeta skillet meal, ultimate cheeseburger mac, and we'll see what it tastes like. But so I ain't gonna spend a whole lot of time on my cooking, but just to give you an idea, I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Well, it's done. Looks like hammered shit, don't it? I tasted it a while ago. It's pretty good though. It's salty. That Spam's salty. But for dessert, I got some Oreo cakesters. Thanks to my son, Ethan. Thanks, bud. All right, we're gonna eat. So it's about midnight, and we got a pretty good fire going here because the temperature dropped to about 37, I across the river. I think Hog Rock's going on. It's a motorcycle rally they have a couple of times a year. But I heard a band playing earlier, and a bunch of bikes. But shoot, if I was still drinking, I sat over and got drunk and probably run that little boat wide open over there. Got up amongst that stuff. Because I would do ignorant shit like that when I was drinking. But I'm glad I'm not tonight. Ain't that right, buddy? We behaving? Yeah, it's better this way, ain't it? But I was going to tell you something else that kind of helps me and helped me a lot in early sobriety, which I'm still in early sobriety. And that's podcasts. A few years back, I started listening to AA speaker meetings, and the only other one I knew, on them lines besides that was that sober guy, and I listened to him. And now we got a few I listen to, Sober Not Mature, Beyond Recovery, and Canadian Sobriety. And there's a new one, Sobering Up. It's pretty good. But sometimes God needs a break from just sobriety. So, y'all gonna think I'm crazy for saying this, but I've always been fascinated with Bigfoot. And so I come upon a podcast a few years ago called Sasquatch Chronicles. And the guy's name's Wes Germer, and he has people come on the show and just tell their story, their encounter with Bigfoot. And so I would just relax my mind, get into that story, and it helped me get out of my own mind. All that crazy shit that's going on up there sometimes. And I would just listen to this story about a Bigfoot. And then I got, through Wes's show, I got turned on to... So we had some technical difficulties. The fire got my phone too hot, so it shut off and had to cool off. So, but what I seen was, I started listening to the Confessionals with Tony Murphy, and Tony's show was a little bit broader. It covers paranormal, Bigfoot, UFOs, a lot of stuff. I mean, it's really broad show. But so I just, like I said, relax my mind and just do that, whether I believe it or not. So what? It's just, I mean, it's helping me get out of my head. But so them two guys have helped me in my recovery more than, they may ever know. But it's just stuff like that. I mean, I like to read. But it don't always have to be, the Bible, my big book, Max Cato, self-help books. I mean, I love that stuff. Because I'm always wanting to learn and add to, my quality of life and my faith. But sometimes I just like to just read a book for fun. My favorite author is a Kentucky author, Jesse Stewart, and he wrote about, hillbillies in eastern Kentucky. And I just love to read stuff like that. So whatever it is, just get your mind occupied from what, whatever turmoil might have going on. I don't know, any kind of book or podcasts, which I do stick to my sober podcast. I listen to certain ones every week. It really helps me. But I listen to Bigfoot stuff too. So, I don't know, sometimes I listen to like history podcasts, and, maybe scary stories, getting near Halloween. But anyways, that's something that helps me. There's a barge going down the river, and I don't see how in the world they see where they're going. The fog is just thick across there. But they shut her down. He's slowing down. He can't see where he's going. I'll show y'all. I don't know if y'all can see the lights there. But anywho, that's something else that I was thinking about. But I may finish this coffee and hop on into bed. Good night. Woke up this morning, no hangovers, no regrets. But it's about noon now, and we've been lazy all day. We was up late last night. The dogs were just running wild. It got down to freezing too. A little cool. But the wind's blowing pretty good, but it may be working in our favor, because I'm planning on heading up the river, upstream. And I don't know, we probably got 2 miles maybe to go up that way. So if it's not too rough, I'll bring y'all back on if I ain't fighting the boat. But I'm gonna go up there and pack up camp and get headed out. So we decided against going upstream on the Ohio. I had my life jacket on, and we pulled out there and was going to go for it. And current was moving pretty good, so we turned around and come back up here in the trade water. We got about another 3/4 mile to go, and my wife's going to pick us up at the boat ramp. But we just cruising. It's a nice day. These guys are running around naked now. Warmed up a little bit and they took their clothes off. But I wanted to say some of the, stuff we've talked about. It doesn't take the place of a good treatment center if that's what somebody needs. Especially if they're running a chance of a hard detox or that needs medical attention. I always detox pretty good. I was lucky with that. But drugs and alcohol too. Alcohol can be dangerous detoxing off of for some people. But I've been to some good inpatient treatments, and I don't think I've ever been to a bad outpatient. And an outpatient, you don't have to shut your whole life down to do that. But some of us, I needed inpatient. I did some. 30 days was as long as I stayed at, one of them. But just to get away from, what our life, just to separate from that. what we know and what I knew was alcohol. Anything happened, I'd turn to alcohol. But I don't know. I think on the last episode I was talking about the time I had 6 months and just going to meetings. I had a big book. I didn't know much about a sponsor, the steps, and I was blessed that I met some good people that showed me the way on that. But a good treatment center or a outpatient, can give somebody the basics of start a recovery, whether it's 12-step or faith-based or whatever it is, that will work for you. So I wanted to say that, and I was thinking we've covered quite a bit of ground here, and there's so much more to talk about in early sobriety, so I thought I would just kind of wrap it up and maybe continue on, have like maybe a part 2. But early sobriety can be fun and it can be really hard. But I gotta tell y'all, for me, it's all about action and my higher power. I would not be sober today if it wasn't for God. And He gives me the strength I need, the courage I need to do things that I normally would just run away from. Even this, this is so weird for me and out of character for me to talk to a camera and kind of put myself out there like that. And I couldn't do it without God. I really think He's leading me in this thing. And I was telling my wife last week, I said, one good thing that's come out of this is I can at least look into that camera and see myself and not cringe. And she said, well, that makes it worth it, don't it? Absolutely. Because there were so many years that I just hated to look at myself. I hated to hear myself talk. I was just disgusted with myself. And so, making some progress. But we're going to wrap it up. I've done talked y'all's leg off. So, from the Tradewater River and from Tucker and Pearl, say bye, guys. We're out of here. God bless y'all.